Hi, I'm Joe Wesley, and our mission is to strengthen your bottom line through creative tour events. Hi, I'm Joe Wesley of J&L Creative Tours. Sometimes people will ask me, why the bus? Wouldn't it be cheaper and easier to just have people drive someplace by themselves and have it done with, and you save money on top of that? One of my prior projects was to help a nonprofit entity raise monies, and they had languished for a few years. So part of my suggestion was, well, let's do an event people enjoy coming to, because they may or may not connect to the primary cause of your program. And we talked about it, the committee I was a part of, and somebody suggested, well, let's do a wine tasting. And the thought was we can do a venue, we can have the band, we have the music, we have the food, we have the dancing. And I'm thinking, well, we have budget constrictions, we have time criteria here, we have resource problems in terms of people involved. And I said, well, let's do a bus trip to an exotic location and not just make it out of area, but let's an actual vineyard. And for those of you who've done a wine tasting, they can range from standing in line at a local store to the actual vineyard itself. Well, I thought vineyard provides a unique experience. And the concept being that if we want to stand out from the competition, let's do something, one, people enjoy, and two, let's make it memorable. Because this really isn't about the event, it's more about the experience you take home with. Well, one of the ladies on the committee said she mentioned it to her husband. And he says, geez, out to a different location, why can't you choose a place I can get there in 5 minutes, bang down my 5 shots, and be home within 35 minutes? And certainly for him, that would be a lot easier. And overall, perhaps a lot cheaper when you think about it on a short-term basis. But we had to ask ourselves, is this the person we're trying to draw to our program? So I said, no, let's do a bus trip. And while we're on the bus, we did 3 things. We engaged the audience with humor. People got to know each other. There's a phrase that you can get a sense of who a person is by who they associate with. So as you learn the people next to you, through engagement, through humor, through family anecdotes, that people say, geez, as one lady asked me, she was part of a social group, she asked me, these are quality people. Who do you know them from? And I said, they know each other from the people involved. So her respect for the host entity clearly went up multiple fold. But what happened here, 3 things were accomplished while on the trip that generated enthusiasm. I understand the report back was it was a tremendous event. We had a lot of fun. We met good people. Number 2, the second criteria was now more people know about the program. And they came out not because they wanted to hear about your effort or your cause. They wanted to have an experience they hadn't had before. And number 3, we actually raised a few $100s, and the money in itself was insignificant. However, what our company did, J&L Creative Tours, was to do a survey afterwards, including did you like the event, yes or no, different aspects, a short survey. But by the way, would you like to learn more about the host entity, the nonprofit, and members are on the bus to engage with them? Would you like to share your time, money, or resources? And we got a 35% positive yield. So you say, is it easier? Well, I guess perhaps for the organization, because the person has to drive themselves, they have to figure out the time distance, the travel, the tolls in the Northeast where we're located, the parking. Do we get there on time? One of our caveats is no refunds if you miss the bus. People were on time, we started on time. So the concept of easier can be addressed by the fact that not really, because not many people may come out, certainly to a different location, bring them to a familiar location, but then it's a familiar package. It's a familiar syndrome. And number 2, because people did have a good time, they were much, much more inclined to be relaxed as part of the package. They were much more inclined to be amenable to the suggestion behind the event itself. And it's been our experience, if people feel good about the memorable experience you've provided them, about the effort you've put into it, more likely they can anticipate the same unique value for your pragmatic or left brain or business side of your package. And again, this is not just for nonprofits. I think any type of business entity or social program that's looking to get more resources that give people in a non-hard sell moment the opportunity, the space, the ability to learn more about your karma, the sense of who you represent. And if they feel good about who you represent, they're much more inclined to be receptive to what you represent. I hope this makes sense to you. Before I forget, you may have figured out by now that my YouTube presentations are more the warm fuzzy side with the smiles and the humor, whereas I always provide a link that talks more of the didactic aspects of what I'm saying, why it's useful to do events that will engage your audience, that will heighten their interest, that will strengthen your resources, the value. So why the bus? Because it's good for your company, it's good for your organization. Please contact us with any questions or comments. J&L Creative Tours. Effective networking is much more than simply passing out business cards. It's about creating relationships with people who believe in the value you represent to your company's branding. J&L Creative Tours provides an environment where you can optimize the quality of yourself and your business.